All right, I'll tell you, the worst crisis we've had since we got here was trying to make that computer work back there and give us this screen that you see before you. We had it all back there, but we couldn't make it show up here. And they felt like it was something unusual, but it happens to me all the time, no matter where I go. They come in and they say, well, this usually works, they'll say. And I don't know why it's acting like that. Well, today, even though I have fled the country and am no longer in the States, the jinx has followed me and found where I am and messed up the computer. But they finally got it with all hands and the cook and everybody working. They got it, and then I did what I do best, and that's stand back and leave them alone, because I am no help at all. I was setting this up one time in a church down in the hill country of Texas, and I went through this long rigmarole to get it up on the screen, then to get it up there, get it on that screen, then get it up there. And I had everything perfect. It was just great. The preacher came along and said, would you like another outlet, electrical outlet? And I said, well, yeah, I guess that'd be a good idea. Instead of bringing me one, he went over and unplugged my computer that had all this stuff on it, and it went out. And then I had about 10 minutes with everybody coming in at the last minute, and they're all wanting to talk to me while I'm trying to figure out what to do. And finally I had to call Robert Taylor, who is my colleague in ministry at Waterview, because he's my computer guru, and he told me what to do. And I said, I know you're happy to hear from me every Saturday at this time of day. Wake him up out of bed probably. And so today when we went into this gyration, it didn't surprise me at all. It happens to me all the time. So that's why I try to get there a little bit early so we have time to kind of mess up. Welcome this morning. This is going to be Bible class today. And what you're going to experience this morning with me, you may have already experienced in some other ways too, with Dave and others. But this is what for the last 40 years, I've been flying all over the country teaching people how to do this and how to have a good time and how to have fun and yet get a Bible lesson. So if you enjoy this, that's good. If you don't enjoy it, we probably need to talk about that and see what I did wrong. But this is an interesting way to study the Bible. And of course, I'm going to require your help to do this, because this is the kind of lesson that is not a lecture. And I have no lecture to go with this. But I do love what I learn from what people say when they see it. And so that's why I ask men and women to say, what do you see there? What do you think about that? So that you're not being singled out if you have a problem with me asking you to tell me what you see. What I want you to do is I'm going to give you a question. And then after I've given you the question, I'm going to give you a little time to read this passage again out of Luke 10. And then I'm going to let you answer the question. But in other words, I'm not going to spring the question on you don't have time to think about it. I'm going to give you the time to think about it right here in class. So here's what we'll do. Here's my question. This thing is full of hypotheticals. It's conditions contrary to fact. And I'm going to ask you hypothetical questions to get your brain to turn on and think with me into the passage. If you went to worship with Mary and Martha, in some mythical church. We don't know where that would be. The Bethany Church of Christ, I guess. But anyway, if you went to church services with Mary and Martha, and if these two women lived in different houses, which they don't, and if they both invited you home for lunch, which of course they can't, but if they did, and if you could go where you wanted to go, and somehow miraculously you would not offend either one of them. If you went with Mary, they'd be okay with Martha, and Martha would be okay with Mary. If you had all of those things, those ifs, then you only have one decision to make. Just very simple. With which one would you choose to go home for lunch? Okay, now that's the question. And that's the part I want you to think about, but you're going to need to read the passage again after I say that to you. You've got a highly hypothetical imaginary question. You go to church, you meet outside, and Mary comes up and says, well, would you go home with us, with me? And Martha comes up and said, no, I'd like for you to go home with me. You've got a choice, but you don't have to worry about them being offended. You get to do exactly what you want to. Now, with which one would you go home? So, read the passage and think about the question. Okay. I think you probably had time to read down through it again. Now, the wonderful thing about our group today, our class is small enough that everybody can get a piece of the action. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me. You do not have to explain this. Just tell me your answer. I will accept just about any kind of answer. You say, I'm going with Mary, I'm going with Martha. I can't decide whether I want to go with Mary and Martha. Or I would go with this one if this was happening, or I would go with this one if this was happening. You know, you can flower it up any way you want to, but I want to know kind of which way you think you'd go. Now, we're all guessing, so don't let that worry you. And if you change your mind in the middle of the discussion, that's okay too. We're not real sticklers. So, let's start off. Who are you going home with?
Mary.
Going home with Mary. Who are you going home with? Mary. Mary? Mary, okay. Martha.
I'm getting fed.
And you're going home with Martha.
Mary.
Martha. Mary. We don't know. Mary.
Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a little lamb. I hope she had one after you finished eating. David had a problem with that, you know. You got the poor man's lamb. Okay, who are you going on? Martha. And Martha. Mary.
She knows what I want. Martha wouldn't have food for me, but
Okay.
Mary.
Martha. Mary. Who did I miss? I don't know. I missed the ones on the end down here. And this one. Okay. Mary. And Martha. Well, We're in perfect agreement, I can see. So this should not be difficult. This just plunges you in to this passage that Luke wrote. And you have to say, why? Why do you write this? This seems like such an insipid little story. But he said, oh, that's important. The Holy Spirit said, write that down. So I think maybe today, maybe we can dig in and maybe it'll help us understand why it's here. Okay, we got Mary's, we got Martha's, we got undecideds. And I didn't even ask my wife because I know who she's going with. She's going Martha, right. Or I didn't ask all the way at the back there.
I would go with Martha because I was probably hungry.
Okay, you're going with Martha. Okay, those of you that chose Martha, I have another question. Why would you choose someone that Jesus chided?
I'm hungry.
Good, you're hungry. All right. Hungry, good. That's a very pragmatic thing to do. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry, you said that Jesus did or said what?
Chided.
The one word I didn't catch.
Scolded.
Oh.
Chided.
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 He
Okay.
chided her.
Yeah.
So stop saying chided.
I'm a little here. I hear
Okay, why would you go with Martha if Jesus chided her, scolded her,
Corrected.
whatever, corrected her?
Yeah.
Either of those words. So, why would you go? You're hungry? Any other reasons? Yeah.
I go with her to maybe help her go the right way, to give her information.
Maybe you're going to do what?
Help her to go the right way, like to give her the information.
Okay.
She's going down the wrong path.
Okay. Okay, so you're going to help Martha.
Study.
Okay.
She
Okay.
needs some
Good.
study.
Martha, but Jesus said, Martha, Martha. I can just hear you. You know, I wish the inflection were in the passage where you could read it. But the way I think he said it was, Martha, Martha. I don't know whether some of you are old enough, and I don't know whether you ever got this radio program years ago called One Man's Family. Does anybody ever remember that thing? Okay, probably wasn't in Canada. There was a thing called a serial called One Man's Family, and Father Barber of a family, they'd have a 50-minute program, and he usually only say one thing in 15 minutes. And his wife's name was Fanny, and he would say, listen to him tomorrow when we hear Father Barber say, Fanny, Fanny, Fanny. What does that mean? Well, it's a kind of a mild chide, Fanny, Fanny. Don't do that. Okay. But Jesus said, Martha, Martha. You look here, he said, you're worried about many things. And he says, you're on the wrong track. Get off of that track. Now, I want to psychoanalyze Martha just a little bit, if you don't mind, if you help me do it. Tell me about Martha. Tell me about what kind of person she is. In fact, first of all, tell me, who's the older sister, Mary or Martha? Why do you think it's Martha?
Because she had to help raise her younger sister.
All right. She's bossy. She's bossing the younger sister. And firstborns tend to be highly responsible. And when you're younger, middle, or particularly the baby of the family, it's like, everybody just love me, I'm here. And I don't do anything, but everybody just loves me, I'm just charming. And the other said, would you get with it and get this thing done? You know, okay, that's Martha, you know, come on. Tell me any more about Martha that you can read there. Anyone could.
She gets stuff done.
She gets stuff done. You can tell that by the way she goes at it.
She might fuss about it, but she gets it
Yeah.
done.
What is her attitude about what's going on? What do you see to be her attitude?
Not too sure.
Take a guess. I mean, you don't have,
Joyce said she's a complainer. Right.
okay. A complainer.
I think she's trying to impress.
Then what?
She's trying to impress people.
Okay. She wants it, when the company's there, she wants everything to work. Yeah, that's kind of concerned about being impressing people. Okay. And what about, tell me a little more about how she really thinks and feels.
Jumping on Jesus even about it.
Okay, she jumps on Jesus. Now let's read that again. See, you've been looking at this thing through colored glasses, stained glass window. Oh yes, sweet Mary. Wonderful Martha. No, look at it. Martha comes in, and she says, and I'm going to put the inflection to it. Lord, don't you care that my sister's left me? I had to do this work by myself. Is that a sweet disposition? Is that a sweet disposition?
Not so much.
I don't think so. And then she says, tell her to help me. You know, you tell her to get in here. Now what kind of attitude is this?
Selfishness.
Okay, it's me, it's I know what's right. What else? Well, bossy, of course, is one word, but bossy. She says, I'm really one in charge here because none of these other numbskulls are paying attention to what's going on. Yeah. And so, now, what I love about this verse 40, as I always tell people after they talk about it a while, I said, look, here's what you know about Martha. When there's a Martha around, not even the Son of God is safe. I mean, she's going to tell him how to do it. And she's totally without tension about it. I mean, this is it. But at the same time, when you look at those same characteristics and you flip it to the good side, what's the good side? What do you see the good side is of this that Martha's doing?
She's working. She's not lazy.
She's not a lazy person, not a lazy bone in her body. Okay, what else, ladies? What else do you see? Tell us what you see.
She wants to get the work done.
Yeah, but let's get this done. Can't you hear modern day Martha saying, if you would come in here and help me do this, we could all go sit and listen to Jesus. Does that sound right?
Amen. She wants it to be just perfect.
Yeah, she wants everything. She is a strict constructionist. I want it exactly like this. I want it to be right. Mm-hmm. Is that a bad thing? Anything bad about that?
No.
Okay.
Well, when you worry and get upset about it, it can be a bad thing.
Okay, now we're zooming in on what Jesus said was wrong. Because my question would be, what was wrong with Martha? What was really wrong with Martha? And she's suggesting she's coming in, and as she's coming in, she's saying, it's got to be done. It's got to be done now. Get with it. Everybody get with it. Everybody heads up. Come on, listen to me. We got to go. Go, go, go. And he said, you are what? This version said distracted. What does it mean? What does he mean by distracted? What's distraction?
She's being judgmental of Mary, because Martha's asking Jesus, the Lord, to tell her to do something. And basically she's telling Jesus, I'm being judgmental. Jesus says you shouldn't be judgmental. Right? So Jesus says that's what she said. He says, Martha, Martha, don't be judgmental of people. Right? You invited me to your house, so you should be able to accept that you have to do the work you prepared for me. Or Mary didn't basically invite him, and she's basically in friendship with him. You know? So that's Martha's in a way in the wrong. She's the one invited. She should be the one who should be doing the work and not complain about it. Understand?
Okay, well, I do that,
It doesn't say that Mary's or Martha's the one that invited Jesus. They both lived at that house. So it's both of their responsibilities to cook the meal.
Okay.
This is coming from a Martha.
I mean,
Don't defend her.
a totally unbiased thoughts from me. That is so good. I'm sorry? Her heart? Oh, or different. Yeah. Was Mary, was it Martha, was she serving Jesus? In her mind, was that what she was trying to do? But she chose to say the way to serve them is to get the meal ready and on time. So what is the value that lies under this behavior? We got to do it now. Come on, hurry. What's the reason underneath all that? You're going to see this is your chance to be expert witnesses. What's the value that Martha has?
I think maybe she just wants to get it done so that they can get on with the rest of it.
Okay. It's what is the one that guy on TV that says, get her done. Get her done. Yeah.
Or she maybe want to get done so she can spend some time with Jesus.
Okay, she may want to get in there with Jesus too. I can identify with that. Let's get this thing out of the way and we can go in there and do the big stuff. Okay? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have an example here of a woman who was overwhelmed with suddenly 14 guests or however many descended, and now it's somehow she feels it's her responsibility, and she has no help to feed all these people, and she'd like to come and join them. I don't know if women ate with men in that time or not, but I think that as being a small one-room house, or maybe 2 rooms, and all these swarthy fishermen and people who had traveled on the road and all that kind of thing have descended on the house. And she's overwhelmed and wants to be with them, but feels that, someone's got to be here. And of course, women are very possessive of their kitchens. She didn't want anybody else in there. She knew what needed to be done. But it was just, there was a lot of work to feed all these people.
Now she is taking us back. We've been talking kind of like we're back here, but she just now dropped us into Martha's world. See, it doesn't say here, much about the disciples, but she just added it up for you. You're talking about 12 apostles, plus Jesus, plus Mary, plus Martha, and plus anybody else who showed up. I don't know. But she said the emotional part is overwhelmed. You know, here it comes. 14 people for lunch. You know, is there anything to think about? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So she's overwhelmed, and then out comes this reaction. It's just spur of the moment, and it's how she felt. And if you will adopt her sense of values, it's perfectly logical. Perfectly logical. But does Jesus say, you know, Martha, what you're doing is just unimportant. I wish you'd shut up and sit down. Is he really saying anything like that to her? What is he saying? If we pursue what she brought up, that Diane brought up about distracted. She's overwhelmed, yeah.
To me, that's the whole key, is the distracted part. To be distracted is to lose your focus. And I think that's like anything in life, like we were talking about too. It's not wrong to have wealth. It's not wrong to do certain things, but if you lose your focus on Christ, and that is your focus, then it's very easy to have the wrong attitude and do the wrong things.
Well, see, this is the thing that gets me about this. And before I started studying the scripture like this, where we all look at it and we start picking up things from each other. What do you see? What do you see? I was limited to what I saw. Now, with 15, 20 people, I am not limited by what I see. I'm only limited to what 20 of us can see, or whatever we got here. But Martha is acting, according to what we're all saying here, pretty much within the range of her sense of values and her tension and the situation, which is overwhelming, with 14 for lunch. And that's without a microwave. Yes, ma'am.
One answer that Jesus could have given her was, we're all fasting for this meal.
Yeah.
Come and join us.
But we have several here who would not go along with that. They don't want the fasting. They wanted to eat, is what they said here. So, and probably some of them felt the same way. So now that we've looked at Martha, I will come back to her, but now I want you to look at Mary, because it's not fair to tromp on Martha and not look at Mary. Mary comes off pretty much the hero in the situation. I think you agree. But look at it from Martha's viewpoint and tell me what she saw. What did Martha see when she looked at Mary? And this is all imaginary. I'm still had to make it up, but you're pretty good at making stuff up. You read the story, you pick it up. Yeah.
I think Martha thinks Mary's skipping out on the beauty.
Yeah, she's skipping out. She's reducing it. Yeah.
Yeah, she might think that Mary is unresponsible.
Yeah. The very idea, just slipping the bonds of responsibility and just floating on her own, doing what she wants to.
See, and I would say, like, as we said, that Martha was selfish, so is Mary.
Okay.
So she's going to go sit with Jesus because she's being selfish and not serving others and sacrificing her time with Jesus.
I'm going to tell a story that's current one. I'm going to go back and get just about the last one I haven't got to speak here. Question, at home, we had a lady that anytime a guest speaker came in, she got in line behind him, went to his table to eat, plied him with questions, and then when it was time to start cleaning up, the women started it early, folding tables and wiping things off. And just as they would finish, this woman would say, "Oh, are we finished? I was going to hell. How do you feel about a woman who does that constantly?
It's she's trying to leave around any responsibility.
Okay. Good. She's shirking her responsibility, which she kind of knows she ought to do, but she doesn't do it. And I'm not making this up. This is a real story. And they do it. So what do you see a woman who does that? Why don't you tell us what you think?
A woman who does.
Yeah, when you look at that, a woman that says every time, not once, every time, she sits at the table with the speaker and enjoys his company, and then finally says, "Oh, I was going to hell."
Well, I think she's got to keep finding people to talk to. If the speaker's got to go, she doesn't want to help. So even then, she's going to go find someone else, and she'll almost do anything but go and do what she knows she should do. And so she knows what she's supposed to do, but she's looking for any reason not to do that.
She's driven by something that really got her. She has some value that she says, I get to do this and not do this. What do you think?
In a sense, it is a kind of a selfish attitude to have. But on the other hand, she's still making, Mary's still making the right decision. Because, I mean, how long was Christ around after that?
Mary is, you're right, she's looking at the situation through different glasses.
The work that Martha has to do is important.
Yeah.
No question about that. But spending time with Christ is more important.
And she makes that decision.
Despite the fact there's going to be animosity.
Yeah. Because I suspect she knew what Martha was going to think. She knew she'd be charging. See, I see Martha coming out of the kitchen, knocking the flour off and it's flying, and says, "Lord," and I'm in there doing all the work. And she's wondering what is wrong with Jesus, really. But there again, we're talking temperament. And Mary's temperament is more meditative. Martha's is more doing. You wouldn't want any place or group to have all Marthas or all Marys. Marys should just all sit there and meditate and starve to death. and Martha, you get the meal done, but everybody's mad when you finish. She lost everyone around, and some resent that. But Jesus doesn't jump onto the thing and say, "Martha, you're a bad girl, and you're just doing everything wrong." Instead, he doesn't even talk about what she does. He just says, what you have to understand, you are worried and you are upset, which would suggest out of all proportion to reality. You're too upset, you're too uptight, and you're too upset about many things, which shows, she's jumping around. But he said Mary's got the one thing that's necessary. She's chosen what is better. Not the thing that's bad versus the thing that's good, but the thing that's better. So you got good, better, and best. And he said she's chosen it, and it will not be taken away. Well, what an interesting story. What an interesting story.
It seems like he's chiding Martha more for her attitude than what she actually was doing.
Yes. She could have gone ahead and done all the preparations and could have come in and said, "Mary, we need some help in the kitchen. Could you come in?" And this never would happen. But she did it, and so Luke records this. And see, this is the part about all texts of Scripture. that is so exciting to look at, and to throw yourself back into the time when it was happening. And as we had a while ago, there's 14 people for lunch. You got to pay attention. It's not like Jesus walked in and said, "Hey, let's do it." And she said, "No, you go sit down. I'm going to go and get the meal, and I don't have time to listen to you." That's not what happened. 14 people standing around. So, here's the thing, though. I want us to bring it down. I want us to. We went back there and put a hedge around 14 people for lunch. Now let's come down to our day. When some people come to the fellowship of the church, or the awareness of the church, or there may not be Christians, and there's a possibility there will be, or people who say, "I am a Christian, but I'm thinking about being part of this particular fellowship." Many times we will say, "Come over tonight and eat with us," or "Come over at lunch," or "We'd like to spend some time together." Now, why are we doing that? Why would we give this attention to people like this? What are we doing it for? Why is it?
Showing our hospitality.
All right, we're showing hospitality. Thank you. We are doing it for really a spiritual purpose, but it's hospitality. Now, walk through a scenario with me that is more real than we care to admit, but let's do it. A husband, we'll say, in my story, says to his wife, "Oh, by the way, honey," they're on the way home from worship. "By the way, honey, I decided the Joneses have been coming and visiting, and we'd like to see them become part of the fellowship. And so I invited them over for dinner tonight after church." She said, "You invited them over without asking me?" Yeah, well, he's dead meat. There's no doubt about it. He's not going to live long if he's going to learn better than that. But he said, "Well, but we have a real great purpose." And this is where you're going to have to do the dialogue, right? She said, "We can't have them over tonight because
The house is in a mess.
the house is in a mess." That's right. "We can't invite them over because," he said, "well, listen, I'll have to clean the house up. We'll throw things in there and close the door and nail it shut, and they'll never know it's in there." Okay, we can do that. And so she says, "Okay, so the house is clean, but we can't have them over because
I don't have enough food to feed."
there is not enough food to feed that family. Do you realize there are 5 people in that family? And we 2 in ours, we got over 10 people here. You dumb old man, cannot count? You know, and he says, so he doesn't give up. "Well, I'll just go by the chicken place and get a bucket of fried chicken."
Bring in the pizza.
Our pizza. And she said, "No, we can't do that because..."
I have plans.
"Yeah, I've already got plans. We can't do it because..."
We can't afford it.
"Can't afford it. We can't do it. It just wouldn't be right." What is not right about that? Tell us.
Well, you've got to have a proper meal if you're enticing people.
Inexpensive.
Oh, you just don't throw stuff in
You
front of them.
can't feed them wieners and macaroni and cheese.
Like you eat all the time, yeah. Yeah. We don't do that for company. And he says, and besides that, she says, "I don't have anything for dessert." And he said, "I'll go by the bakery and get a pie And she says, heavenly days, you can't do that because
Store-bought pie is
that's
gross.
store-bought. How gross.
That has happened to me lots and lots of times, and my favorite thing to say is just always like, let's take them out to eat to our favorite place, and then we can all sit and enjoy it, there's
All
no
right.
dishes,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay. All right. Great scenario, you have to admit. Now, when this comes up and we're going to do this great thing, this great spiritual thing, what is it that's getting in our way?
Our own pride.
You know what?
Our own pride.
We've got our own pride. We've got our own values.
Selfishness.
We've got selfish values. We've got things that would put me out too much. Husband, you're not thoughtful, which I agree. He should never do that. He should ask first and make plans. But this great spiritual thing that we're going to do usually doesn't go down like you say, and they say, okay, that's bad, so we'll just go to eat somewhere else. Okay, but the point is that things we get focused on and fixated on get in our way of doing good spiritual things, which, Eureka, that's exactly the problem. Things are getting in the way that are not necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily focused in the right place. So it would appear that Luke, when the Holy Spirit said, write this down, looking over his shoulder, said, I'm going to show them something about spiritual value and the focus of your life. We don't, Mary and Martha, we can see through them clear, transparent. But it's not that easy to look through us. See, we don't see us. And this kind of gives us a little nagging warning. Watch out. Watch out for your focus. Watch out for the distractions. Watch out for saying, don't you care about this minor thing here? Well, I was thinking about it. Well, don't do that. Think about this down here. Well, is it right or wrong? Not necessarily, but Jesus said it's unfocused. Okay, that's pretty much, that was supposed to be a summary. Does that pretty much get it? What we looked at and seen?
I just have one thing I'd like to
Okay,
add.
add one more.
This is Mary and Martha females, but there are Mary and Martha males too.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is not gender based. Not gender based at all. We all do it at some point. Yeah, good. That's what this period of time is for, is for things we missed. If there's a lesson we missed, well, everybody got a chance to throw it in. Now, oh yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So often we make excuses. I'm too busy. My sister said that busy is being under Satan's yoke.
Will someone with a loud voice tell me what she said? She's too soft. What did she say?
I said we make excuses that we're too busy doing
Okay.
other things.
Yes. We excuse ourselves. We don't want the brunt of this thing hitting us in the face.
Better tell you what her sister said. That sounded
And my sister said busy is being under Satan's yoke.
Being under Satan's yoke. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna try. I think I can remember that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
If we bring in a statement that we find in the book of James, that you show your faith by your works.
Yeah, because
Can that be applied in any way to these verses?
it applies, but it applies both.
It might be at an angle, you know.
It applies both directions, I would say here. It applies to Martha in that she's missing it. It applies to Mary in that she has to, we don't know about Mary. We don't know what all the motives were, but apparently she really wanted to be with Jesus. So that, she's in pretty good shape. But James would say, you show what you are by what you do, which is right, yeah.
I think, in doing lots of work for God, we, are serving Him, but we often forget that we're the ones who need to be fed.
Yeah.
Mary or Martha was worried about feeding Jesus, but, she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too concerned, it looks like, in getting fed. Whereas Mary was hungry and she wanted to be
Mary
fed.
was she was on the dot. She knew what she needed. That's good. Yeah, no, you had something.
Yeah, another thing I was thinking too, like we're always, like thinking that we have all the time in the world, we'll do this first and then we'll come to that, but we don't necessarily have all the time in the world. We have to, Jesus is there now, so let's enjoy His company and.
So grab it when it goes by.
Yeah, exactly.
That is one of our problems is we say, well, later on we'll be like that,
Yeah,
but not today.
no. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I don't completely agree with being busy is under Satan's yoke. Being busy is a good thing. Idle hands is not a good thing. Being lazy is not good. But if we allow being busy to just distract us from our focus on Christ and being a witness for Him, that is where you fall under Satan's yoke.
I think that quote probably presumes that we're not talking about busy, we're talking about busyness. Which is an end in itself.
Yeah, I just thought, just in case somebody was
wondering good corrective. That we bring out stuff. That's why we got all of you here. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about we beautify Mary, and we still do that. And I'm just wondering if Martha maybe knew her sister really well and knew that she would do anything except work.
Possible.
And that's a possibility there too, right? Her motives may not have all been purely just to listen to Jesus, and because a lot of the apostles and everything struggled with what Jesus taught and stuff too.
Absolutely. You know good and well Martha would have been eager to sit down and listen to Jesus, no doubt. But he's cautioning us. He's really talking about your value system. That's what we're really talking about. It's it's not the issue, it's what's under the issue. And he says, underneath this franticness, Martha, your values are wrong. You need to not let this overwhelm you. Okay?
I would like to say that this may also be an example of where Mary and Martha did not consult with each other about how to organize and deal with this. Mary just kind of jumped into listening to Jesus. And we don't know whose invitation it was to bring Jesus in.
Yeah,
but if it was
that's right.
Mary, she didn't consult with Martha. Like, what can I do to help here? How can we work this together? There's something missing in here. I'm not too sure what it is.
There always is something missing in a story. You never know all of it. And that's why we dig into it. I want to take a little time here, though. We got just a few minutes left. Just so we'll do more than get a Bible lesson, which I hope we have today. Tell me what your observations are about this kind of study. In other words, the experience you've had this morning. Pleasant, unpleasant, threatening, non-threatening, fun, not fun, whatever. Yeah.
You would make a good comedian.
I'm sorry?
You would make a good comedian, that's why God wrote it.
Do what?
You'd make a good comedian.
Oh, make a good comedian. Oh, well, that's debatable, but I'm glad. Yes. All right. Observations that you see. Any observation you want to make about this is a learning experience?
I like it because we can all be involved.
Yeah, everybody gets a chance to be involved. Yeah.
I really like it because, they got everyone involved, and I feel like I'm there, and it's awkward because I'm watching Martha yell at Jesus, and I'm not sure, I feel like I'm there, and kind of just someone who's watching and not saying anything, but just observing.
Yeah. It's interesting. You are there. You will say.
It teaches where we should be looking first, as opposed to just looking at the obvious.
Okay. Good.
Because I think both these women were selfish in a different way.
There is,
never reprimanded.
there's always a
Yeah, I
self-interest.
was gonna say that too.
Jesus spoke to Martha and reprimanded her, and I think that we're reaching for things when we say that Mary did something wrong.
Well,
And it does say in verse 38 that Martha opened her home to Jesus.
Yeah,
That's what I was trying to say.
yeah.
yeah, so the older exercised some prerogative, yeah.
They were both human and both sinful.
That's an interesting thing. I want to hear from this side though. I'm getting it all over there. I want to see if there's anything I want to tell. What did it feel like? What did it seem like? Did you feel that? Yeah.
Definitely made me feel like I should be more like Mary and not so much like Martha.
Okay. That's always a possibility to get a conviction based on what you see.
I think it should help Martha to be more like Mary's and Mary's to be a little more like Martha.
I would like for Mary to do a little, tell you the truth. Would you mind getting up and going in the kitchen, you know? Just act like you're working. I'd like to. Okay, anybody else here before I go back? Anything? What did you feel? Anything you want? Oh, go ahead.
I enjoyed the way we did this. I just think sometimes we need to be a little bit careful we're not grasping at things that aren't there, like Brooke was saying. That was my only concern, but overall I thought it was really good because, like you say, you don't always think of everything, and somebody will bring a point up that you're like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought of that before. So
Many times I hear things and I think I totally disagree with that. And then after about 60 seconds I think, I totally agree with that. Simply because I hadn't thought of it. I wasn't on the right track.
that was my only caution.
But there is a self-corrective. But see, as the group leader teacher, it's my task to either help that to happen or let that happen. So that someone says, well, I'm not sure I agree with that. Oh, well, be quiet. We don't want to hear that. See, that we don't do. Because, we've already decided what it is. No, we're going to decide again. Because you're going to give us something, and you may prevail and you may not prevail, but hey, we're just looking for what's true, and we're going to do the best we can, and we won't ever get it exactly right, but we'll get it better. Yeah.
Despite the obvious issues, you still need characters like Martha, and you still need characters like Mary, but in a more balanced way, I would think.
Absolutely. You've got the two different kinds. You've got the different ways of doing it life, and we're always supplementary to each other. And you just have to learn to appreciate the supplementary to you. And that's not always easy. Let me say this. One of the things this does is one, it stirs everybody up to think. And that's fun. It may be threatening if you think somebody's going to jump on you, but you notice today we didn't jump on each other. And if you hadn't jumped on it, it'd be my role to keep that from getting out of hand, which I can do. So why would I want to keep it light and easy? Because that's when the best thinking takes place. But if you get at a sword point with each other, you quit thinking and start being defensive. So we don't want that. We want to be focused up here trying to figure it out. And it would be noticeable today if I said, how many in this group? Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7. We had about 30 here. Everybody who said anything, raise your hand anytime during the class. So just about everybody. Just about everybody. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. If you teach, you want everybody involved. You say, well, I'm just going to sit and listen. Yeah, but your brain's not in gear. You need to listen and your brain in gear. And when your brain's in gear and you say something, guess what you remember most when it's over? You remember what you said. and that becomes your conclusion. Anyway, we're out of time, and thank you very much for your help in all this. I think you did a great job.
You didn't take my last question or my comment.
No,
Okay,
we're
so
not.
here it is. Here it is. This is the one review story about Jesus. We don't know what the answer is. When he was asked to come and heal.
Here, see you again.
It's sort of, we don't know.
What he told her.
What he told her.
We know what she got as instruction. Well, that's what too. And I told you, Will, there you go. I think it was. This is helpful. It gets you into it. You got a pretty good idea of how it's all right. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.